All right, today we're diving into one of history's true game changers, Constantine. This is a Roman emperor whose mix of ambition, faith, and, ruthlessness didn't just save a dying empire. He completely reshaped the future of Western civilization as we know it.
So to really get a handle on Constantine, you've got to understand the world he was born into. Just imagine the Roman Empire, the absolute superpower of its day, not ruled by one emperor, but by four. Yep, four different guys, each with their own army, all jockeying for ultimate control. It was a complete recipe for chaos and civil war, and this was the volatile stage set for Constantine's rise.
So how in the world did the empire get to this point? Well, it all started with this pretty radical idea called the Tetrarchy. It was Emperor Diocletian's big solution to an empire that had just become too massive to govern.
Think of it like a corporate board with four co-CEOs. You had two senior emperors, the Augusti, and two junior emperors, the Caesari. The idea was supposed to create a stable succession and manage the empire's sprawling frontiers. But, in reality, it was just a pressure cooker of ambition, waiting for the lid to fly off.
And right in the middle of this political powder keg, a young Constantine. And he wasn't in some position of power, far from it. He was basically a political pawn, a high-value hostage living in the court of the Eastern emperors, Diocletian and Galerius. It was from this super precarious spot that he watched all the brutal power plays unfold and witnessed the beginning of the Great Persecution, which was the most vicious crackdown on Christians in Roman history.
So, how does a virtual hostage become the sole ruler of the Roman world? Well, his path to power is this incredible story of daring escapes, betrayals, and just sheer raw ambition.
Okay, so in 305 AD, the top emperors step down, but Constantine gets completely snubbed for a promotion. He realizes he is in serious, mortal danger at Galerius's court, so he makes a run for it. The legend says he rode from post house to post house, hamstringing the fresh horses behind him so no one could follow. He makes it to his father in Britain, just in the nick of time. A year later, his father dies, and the army doesn't even wait for permission. They declare him emperor right there on the spot, in what is now York, England. And when his own father-in-law tries to betray him, Constantine shows that ruthless side, forcing the guy to commit suicide.
So, fast forward to 312, and Diocletian's orderly little system? It's a distant memory. It's a total free-for-all. And for Constantine to become the undisputed ruler of the West, there's one major obstacle left. His rival, Maxentius, who holds the ultimate prize, the city of Rome itself.
Now, what Constantine does next is just audacious. His own advisors told him it was a terrible idea. I mean, he was outnumbered almost 2-1, and he was marching against a fortified city. Attacking Rome was an absolutely monumental gamble.
But Constantine, well, he had an ace up his sleeve. Or so the story goes. What happens next isn't just a battle, it's the moment that military conquest gets fused with a powerful new religious vision.
While on the march to Rome, Constantine claimed he saw a vision. A cross of light, right there in the sky above the sun, with an inscription that read, "In this sign you will conquer." In that single moment, his personal ambition and a divine mission became one and the same.
So he tells his soldiers to paint a new symbol on their shields, the Chi Rho. It's made from the first two Greek letters for Christos. Suddenly, his army, marching on Rome, was now visibly marching under the banner of the Christian God.
The battle that followed, the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, was swift and absolutely decisive. Constantine's veteran cavalry just shattered Maxentius's lines. The retreating army got pushed back towards the Tiber River, and in the panic, a makeshift bridge they were all crossing collapses, and Maxentius himself, weighed down by his own armor, drowns in the chaos.
Constantine's victory wasn't just the end of a civil war. It was the beginning of a revolution. With Rome in his pocket, he set out to build a completely new kind of empire.
Once his power was secure, Constantine launched a whole series of sweeping reforms. He co-authored the Edict of Milan, a landmark decree that officially ended the persecution of Christians and kicked off a new era of religious tolerance. He called together the Council of Nicaea to unify church doctrine and poured imperial money into building these magnificent churches. But his changes weren't just religious. He also restructured the government and introduced a new gold coin, the solidus, to get the economy back on track.
And get this, that gold coin, the solidus, was so reliable that it became the standard currency in Europe and the Mediterranean for over 1,000 years. That's an incredible testament to the lasting power of his reforms.
But maybe his most monumental act was literally shifting the empire's center of gravity. He basically abandoned old Rome, with all of its pagan history, and built a brand new capital in the east. New Rome, which would soon be known as Constantinople, was founded to be the strategic, economic, and spiritual heart of a new Christian empire.
But the man revered as a saint by the Eastern Church had a much, much darker side. His story is not a simple tale of a pious hero. It's far more complicated, and honestly, far more brutal.
In 326 AD, right at the height of his power, Constantine did something unthinkable. He had his own eldest son and celebrated heir, Crispus, executed. Then, just months later, his wife Fausta was killed, allegedly in an overheated bath. And then, their names were literally scrubbed from public monuments. It was a shocking family tragedy. And while historians still debate the exact reasons, maybe a palace conspiracy, maybe a false accusation, it reveals a deep, deep ruthlessness.
And this ruthless side is what fuels the huge debate about him. Was he a true, sincere convert? Or was he just a master politician who saw Christianity as the perfect tool to unify the empire under his thumb? The evidence really does point both ways. He claimed a divine vision, but he kept the pagan title of chief priest. He poured tons of money into the church, but he only got baptized on his deathbed.
But here's the bottom line. Regardless of his motives, his impact is just undeniable. He took a splintered, collapsing empire and made it whole again. He took a persecuted minority faith and set it on a course to become the dominant religion of the Western world. And in doing all that, he laid the very foundations for the medieval and Byzantine worlds to come.
Which leaves us with a final, staggering question. He was a visionary, a tyrant, a saint, and a strategist, all rolled into one. But one thing is for sure. His decisions made 17 centuries ago forged the world we are living in right now. Without him, would our world even exist as we know it?